question is, why was Peter blinded to his obvious character flaw? Maybe it was because his closeness to Jesus fooled him. You know, sometimes when you walk close to someone, you think that you're okay because that person may be good, but you think you're fine. And maybe another reason is that the rightness of Peter's life may have made him feel secure against the attacks of Satan. When I say the rightness of Peter's life, I'm saying Peter already gave his life to Christ. He was a bona fide disciple. He was one of Jesus' guys. And so he was right with God in regards to righteousness, but yet he wasn't right in areas of his life. And it confused him. My rightness with God means that everything's okay. No, you got a blind spot, Peter. You know, maybe another reason why Peter did not work on that blind spot was the fact that the strength of his gift may have made him feel invincible. And maybe like most people, if they're successful, and Peter was, he was an entrepreneur, had his own fishing business, had men who worked for him. And some people who are successful, and they have success in the past, and they have success in the present, it blinds them from seeing their obvious character flaws and defects. And they need to get it together, but they don't know. And what has to happen is that they have to experience this rock bottom, they have to go through something, a real, just like this moment that's very transformational. And they hit this thing, or they see this dysfunction in their hearts, and they don't like what they see. And it becomes a tipping point to their change. That was the case with David Letterman. In fact, Oprah interviewed David Letterman, and it was aired January 6th of 2013. And the interview, she asked a bunch of questions, non-threatening, not confrontational. And in one of the answers, Letterman says, I see a therapist. And then Oprah then latches onto that, and she says, what do you feel you still need to heal or work on that you can share with us? And when I saw this interview in front of me and Letterman's candidness, I had to go online and get the transcription and read it for myself, in addition to hearing him. And Oprah said, what do you feel that you still need to heal or work on that you can share with us? And Letterman says, for a long time I thought I was a decent guy. But yet thinking I was a decent guy, I was still capable of behavior that wasn't coincidental to leading a decent life. That's what I'm working on. I want to really be the person I believed that I was. I want to be a good person. I believed I was a good person, yet I was capable of behavior inconsistent with someone who's a good person. And you can't eradicate the record. But going forward, you cannot be that again. That's what I'm working on. Oprah then says, are you talking about having sex or affairs with people in your office? Letterman says, no, I'm talking about stealing cars. In other words, what do you think I'm talking about? I'm talking about a sex scandal that went on that dragged my name in the mud across the world. Then Oprah says, I know you wanted to go through your whole life without having the word sex scandal attached to your name. Letterman says, yep, that's right. Oprah then says, you didn't make it. Letterman says, that's right, didn't make it. Have no one to blame but myself, Letterman continues. And now I feel better about myself, talking about having gone to a therapist. My relationship with my wife has never been better, just because now I want to be the person I thought I was and probably was pretending I was. And so far, it's been great. Things have been great. I hurt a lot of people. I have nobody to blame but myself. I'm not looking to blame anybody. I'm looking to find out why I behaved the way I behaved. And when if you saw the interview and you saw Letterman's vulnerability and candidness, it was so refreshing. Rather than hiding and lying and misrepresenting the truth, he just put it out there. And what I learned was that Letterman, he tells us that his wife forgave him, and he found grace with his wife. And grace is about empowerment. See, forgiveness frees you from the sins of the past. Grace empowers you to live above it. And so his wife extended forgiveness and grace to him. And when I think about God, his forgiveness of us, and when we find grace that he extends to us, is far more powerful and empowering than any human being. And there's some of you sitting in this room right now, that you have been so hard on yourself because of what may have happened in the past, the blunders you may have made, the misjudgments, the errors, the sin that you may have fallen into, and you've been walking around beating yourself up, and you don't know how to find freedom. And when Peter, he was there in the courtyard, and he was so self-assured, he was so cocky, he was so, as I use the word, impetuous and impulsive and proud of who he was and his giftedness and his strength and his bravado and his courage, and he didn't know he's one blurting out words, Jesus, I'll go with you to prison and to death. I'm your man, I got your back. And then when crisis comes down, and he denies Christ not once, not twice, thrice, within the same day that he said, I'll go with you to prison and to death, the same day. And then the rooster crows after his third denial of Christ. And there's Jesus, incarcerated. He hears the rooster crowing. He turns to Peter. He just looks.